Welcome to another edition of the Dental Today podcast. Thank you for stopping by. This is brought to you by Labmediatv. My name is Hezekiah Morales, and here we go. Remember to follow us on social media at Labmediatv. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Dental Today podcast. We are very excited this day to have Miss MacKenzie Jean on the show with us. MacKenzie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really excited.
We are excited to have you, the one and only Tooth Fairy.
Stop.
How have you been, MacKenzie?
I've been really well, really busy, you know.
Really busy. We're at the beginning of the year. How's your scheduling? Have you been able to get back into the groove, or are you still trying to catch up?
Everything's pretty good. It's actually pretty slow right now, so I have plenty of time to catch up with everything. It's all kind of going well, so I don't want to jinx it, you know.
And how's the preparation for Lab Day coming along?
It's coming along. I have a few things in store for Lab Day that I'm excited and nervous about. I can't disclose it to you now, but it's exciting. So I'm working on a lot of things for that, kind of getting my game up there, you know. But I'm excited to be there. There's a lot of cool things this year that I look forward to. So
very, very excited. We're looking forward to seeing you there. By the time this episode is live, it's going to be past Lab Day, but still, it's exciting. Now, MacKenzie, again, I like to go into the history of the dental professional here. And I'm looking at the experiences that you've had, where you've come from and everything. And it's very interesting to me when I was reading your bio that your first tangible experience with the dental technician's profession was when you were 9 years old. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's one of those memories that I kind of forget about from time to time, and then it comes back to me. I'm like, holy crap, that is definitely when it started to just kind of sit in my brain somewhere, that it was just such a neat experience. I was very young, 9 or 10. I want to say 9. My parents had just built this new house in this subdivision next to another family with kids my age, and I started hanging out with the little girl next door, and me and her became really good friends. And one night we were hanging out at her house, and she said, come down to the basement. You have to see what's down here. Because I could smell this really weird smell, right? And I was like, what is that? And she said, come down here. You have to see. And they had this whole lab set up in the basement for her dad. And it turns out her dad was a removable technician on the side. Like, he had a day job, and he'd come home and he'd work on removables for local dentists. And I didn't know at the time what that meant. Obviously, I just knew that it was just really cool. And he brought us in there and he was showing us around. And I remember vividly seeing all of the equipment that I see every day now, but obviously at the time had no idea what I was looking at. And it was around it was the beginning of September, because it wasn't Halloween yet. September, October, yeah. And he had said, I can make you some teeth if you want some kind of cool monster teeth. And I was just completely shocked by that. I was like, no, you can't do that, And he's like, no, sit down. And he took an impression of my mouth, and I thought it was the coolest thing, because I wasn't at the dentist, which ironically I have a debilitating fear of. And he made me little fangs, and I remember trying to wear them for years. I remember they didn't fit after the first year, and I tried to wear them. I tried to be a vampire for Halloween for years after that. But either way, it was an amazing experience. And I never thought that my career would go that route ever. I never considered dental prior to that, or even after that, for a long time. But it was a really neat experience.
So your first contact with the profession was for a costume, which turned out to be a direct foreshadowing of the magic that you produce at your lab. Now, so how long was it, or how did you transition or know of or get involved? What happened? You were in school, you were doing, looking into journalism, or what was this?
It's so weird to talk about now because looking back, I'm like, what the heck was I doing? I wanted to go to college after high school, to please my family. I was never really good at school. I'll be dead honest. I was never really a studious person. I just never was a really good test taker. So I would always kind of just, I gave up a lot. And, but I went to community college and I signed up for all these journalism and written communications courses because that's what I liked to do then, which was, right. And I thought, oh, that's what I'm going to do because that's what I'm meant to do, right? So I started doing that, but in the middle of all of it, I obviously needed to earn some money. So I took a job at a dental group. It was called Racine Dental Group in Racine, Wisconsin. They were hiring just, kind of like intern style. It was paid, but it was like for the younger crowd just to come in and basically run errands. I worked in the insurance department, just kind of filing papers and pushing papers for a couple years. I was 17 or 18 at the time. And they had an in-house dental lab in the basement, a full service lab. And I would have to run around the building to deliver charts, patient charts, filing papers. And I used to have to go down to the lab a lot. And I just thought it was so cool. The smell. I know that sounds so crazy, but I know that there are technicians out there who can relate to this. When they first started, the acrylic smell was like heaven to me. I was like, this is amazing. I want to be involved in this. And I just kind of gradually started lingering around the lab and creeping all the technicians out. Like, who is this young girl hovering over my shoulder? I just thought seeing them, wax copings and wax gold crowns by hand and carve the anatomy, I thought it was just fascinating. Over time, the lab manager at the time, his name was Tom Branke, he kind of took a notice to me lingering around and bothering them. And it just happened that a woman was retiring at that time. And he said, if you're interested, we could kind of just see your hand-eye coordination and your dexterity and let's play around with some wax. And I sat down with him and just started he gave me like a PTC handbook and I was just learning anatomy. And he used to have me like close my eyes and feel teeth and have to tell him what tooth it was just by touching it. And
wow.
Yeah. And slowly but surely I started to get it down. And he said, just sit down and let's carve. And that's where it all started. And I started in Crown and Bridge for about 4 years. That was my first department I worked in. And I basically just did wax coping and metal finishing, which wasn't my favorite, but it was an in, I had my foot in the door.
Right.
But that's where it started. And I was there for 4.5 years doing Crown and Bridge before I moved to another lab. It's wild to think about.
Right. And so Crown and Bridge was not your cup of tea. When you moved over to the other lab, what did you transition into?
So, prior to moving to a new lab, I would kind of not cross-train because I didn't know for sure about the other departments, but I would help. I would pour models, obviously. I would trim models. I started to do retainers, just little things when another coworker was out or something. And one day they had me start making, wax rims, bite blocks, custom trays. They started, starting me small. And so I learned a little from there. And then when I left that place and went to another lab, they needed a denture technician. They wanted a setup technician, which I had no idea. I didn't know anything about. But they were willing to give me a chance because I had 4 years lab experience. Granted, it wasn't in removable. But that's kind of where all of the dentures started. It had to have been around 2010, I believe, was when I started doing removables full time. And just kind of learning, taking a lot of, continued education classes and any course I could find locally. Because obviously I'm not formally trained. I'm not certified, but, I've done as many courses and classes as I possibly could in that time. But 7 years later, here we are.
And this is all still in Wisconsin, correct?
Yeah. I was once I left Racine Dental Group, I went to a place called Pop Dental Lab, which is also in Racine. And then I found a doctor who wanted to hire me to be an in-house tech with him in his practice.
Nice.
So he actually built a lab in his practice, didn't have anyone working in it. So it was kind of just sitting dormant for years, and he couldn't find someone. And I saw this ad and I was like, I bet I could do this.
All right.
And I reached out to him. Well, it's only been, I think, 3 years since I've been in this lab I'm in now, which I manage and operate solely alone. It's just me. And I'm in-house, which is new for me to be able to sit chairside with patients and things like that. It's scary, but I'm learning,
And how has that transition between, just working in a lab that is, you're not seeing doctors, you're not seeing patients, you're working on a particular piece that goes out and you don't know what happened to it, nothing about the outcome. Now you're in the an in-house lab where you're seeing the patient, you're seeing your work in the mouth, you're seeing the smiles, you're seeing how your work is affecting somebody's life. How did that change your perception of what you did, of what you've been doing, but now has a different type of let's call it a result?
Yeah, like I said, at first it was terrifying. I mean, you're going from a full service lab where everything's shipped in and out to you. We had over 200 doctors sending us stuff in that full service lab. And like you said, you don't get to see where it goes. You don't get to see the outcome. You don't even really get to see what was done to it when it comes back for whatever it needs to, adjustments. Yeah. So it's really tricky to know exactly what you're doing. And I never realized that until I went to this, this in-house lab. And now I'm starting to see, that's, what this means, or that's why I needed to do this, So now being able to sit chairside with these patients and take my own impressions, do my own bite reg, do everything I need to do, and I know needs to be done a certain way. It's really satisfying, and I think it turns out a better product from my end because I get to see the try-in stages. I get to see all of, pre-op, post-op, all of these things that I never got to see before. It's great, but it was really scary at first, because I had to start to learn how to be a people person, which is not really my forte. I know you know what I mean. I had to learn to smile and talk to people, and that's something new for me because I'm used to being behind the scenes,
Right. Absolutely.
But it's good. Wow. It is good. I do appreciate it now. I appreciate it. I appreciate my own work so much more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm not a technician, and I don't know what you mean in that sense, but definitely in the sense, conceptually speaking, again, you reiterated that you don't see what's going on beyond that job being shipped out. Now you can see it, your process. How has your process changed? Your work process, your workflow, now that you're working in an in-house lab?
As far as my personal process, getting the work done and doing the work, it's changed dramatically, night and day compared to, doing 30 cases a day in a full service lab where I wasn't putting the time and effort that I should have been putting into it because it was like an assembly line type situation. And now I get to schedule my own patients. So I get to give myself that time I need to do it how I know it deserves to be done. Which I think, even if you look at my Instagram, you can see the progression from 3 years ago to now. It's because I have the ability and the time to do what I need to do properly, whereas that was not a possibility before. Did I answer your question correctly? I'm having trouble remembering what you asked.
Absolutely. So because if I'm understanding this correctly, because of the time and because of contact with the patient,
Yes.
you're able to articulate what it is that you need to do the first time.
Yes, absolutely. It's like I said, it's night and day. There were times back, when you're working in a lab that's not in-house, where you would get a note saying, this didn't fit, this wasn't correct, this, these little things that you don't necessarily even know how to correct because you didn't get to see it in the mouth. You didn't get to see the areas that, I know they seem like minute details, but they're things that I never considered until I went to this new place, and I'm sitting with this man or woman, and we're discussing all of their intimate details that they want done with their teeth. And I never got that experience before. So I take all that information back into my lab, and I'm able to sit down and say, okay, I have time to do it this way, and this is the way they want it done. And I know that now, rather than just reading whatever the doctor wrote on the script that just says, set up for try-in next visit. You know what I mean?
Right. So the communication between the patient and yourself has led the, let's say, improve the outcome of the work that is being done. That's very interesting. And what would you say is or were a few fundamental points that have affected your work today that you possibly didn't even think, that maybe a rudiment, maybe the whole wax on, wax off situation that you probably thought, wasn't such a big deal, and now it's impacting your work?
I mean, like I said, it's as far as seeing what I was seeing at the old lab to now. I think the main things I take from it are that it's all about the quality and not the quantity, and that was a main issue. I didn't know that what I do now and what I'm capable of doing now was even possible. I didn't know that. I was working 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, 40 dentures a day packing, not knowing how the quality of the work was being affected because of the bulk of the work. And now coming into this, I'm able to really sit down and kind of, focus where I wasn't able to do that before. And that's like a main point, is being able to sit down, focus on what I'm actually trying to do rather than what maybe management wanted me to get done, or, the time frames, the rush cases. And granted, I still have all of those same issues. They're just much more condensed, and I'm able to manage them appropriately because I'm managing it myself,
Right. Wow.
It's wild. And there's so much I could say about that. But just know that I'm grateful as hell for where I'm at now. I'm just grateful for what I know from my past and what I know now. And I look forward to whatever else I can learn,
Absolutely. So, social media is such a big player in so many industries. The dental technician professional has been able to experience that all the perks from social media, but there are many people that do great work and are still timid to share their work on social media. Where did you muster the courage to start posting your work on social media, specifically on Instagram?
I still get scared every day to post certain things. It's just the way it is. When I made my Instagram, I made it because my friends and family got absolutely disgusted and sick of seeing dentures on my Facebook page. That was my friend and family page, and they were like, "What? We don't want to see this. This is gross. We don't understand it."
Wow.
So my friend was like, "You have to make an Instagram. That's somewhere where you can go and find your niche and find your community." And I sure did. I went on there, posted my first denture. It had I think my first Instagram post was a denture with all gold fronts on it, all upper 6 gold. And it got so much attention without even having a following that I was like, okay, I found my community of people, you know. But still to this day, like I don't think I'm a great technician. I just think that I enjoy it so much that I have to share it with you guys. I need to get it out. Otherwise I'll be sending my family pictures of dentures all day and they will not like that.
They won't.
No. No, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
So did you really, I mean, you're at 40,000 followers on Instagram. How, where did you think you would be when you first started this, and what went through your mind when you started seeing that people just started following and commenting and reposting and all this?
I never thought my Instagram would turn out to be anything. In fact, when I first started it and I started posting, it kind of started as like a blooper page, like crappy things that happen in the lab. Here's a post of a really crappy impression. Here's a post of, you know, what the doctor wrote that was hilarious. Like, that's kind of where it started. And I started to gradually see that I didn't want to come off as negative, or that I didn't like the work, because that wasn't the case. It was just stuff that I thought was funny.
Right.
And slowly but surely I started posting like, oh, hey, I just learned how to do an anatomical wax up, and I posted it and people loved it. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to start posting all of my toothy things. And it's kind of evolved over the last, I've only had my Instagram, I think 4 years now. It's evolved into this, I'm a complete tooth freak and people send me tooth things. I have a whole collection now of really cool stuff people give me. And I'm just the tooth girl now, you know, and I just embrace it because it's something I love to do. And I never thought in a million years I would have more than like 100 followers. I think there's a lot more to it though than just the work, because like I said, I don't find myself to be this amazing technician because I don't know everything. And I wish I did. I wish I was more educated about everything, but I'm not. And that kind of, you know, that weighs on me from time to time. I let it get to me a little bit, but only I can change that. But even so, it's just crazy to me that so many people want to see it, want to see my stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what to think about it. I appreciate everyone though. I really do. It keeps me going and it keeps me motivated. And I think that's the main goal. And I follow so many people that inspire me to just keep trying to do better every day. And it's working. So
and you're doing the same. We were speaking with a special young lady as well, JT Lab Queen, and she was sharing that her inspiration were your posts. And then she started posting, and so I believe it's such a wonderful chain reaction that one person inspires the other, and the other person inspires the other, and it just circles around. Now, what future projects are you working on? Do you have in mind what that you can disclose, of course?
Yeah, I can't disclose the most recent project I have coming up, but you'll see very soon. And you know, this recording actually will come out after lab day, so I guess I could disclose it, right? But either way, I'll just say that I'm going to be working with Ivoclar at a lab day event, which I'm very excited about. It's more on the artistic side. What?
All right. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's more on the artsy side and less on the dental side, but it's something that I'm passionate about, so it's going to be really fun. But other than that, I don't have anything too crazy lined up. I did just recently get the Ivoclar Ivobase injection system in my lab, so that's kind of the new what I'm posting about type thing. Like, I'm learning about it, you know, I'm just trying to take that day by day. But other than that, it's essentially just trying to get better and better at what I'm doing now. I don't have anything major coming up. I'm kind of trying to lay low for a while, not get myself too involved in a bunch of stuff.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people that are looking forward to seeing you in Lab Day. Of course, again, this is going to be live right after Lab Day, but yeah, well, good luck with that. No, I want to stay low. I want to keep it. Low key. Yeah, right. That is so awesome. And so, again, Lab Day. You're in Chicago. Do you go to any other Lab Day event like Lab Day West, Lab Day East, anything like that?
No, I've never been. I have a very terrible fear of flying, which is awful. So I try not to go too far, which is terrible, right? I should really get out there more. I would love to go to the West Coast or even the East. I would love to go anywhere. But we'll see if I ever make it out somewhere else someday. I would love to. The furthest I've gone was to DC for the Glidewell Symposium. I went to that, which was only a 2-hour plane ride, so I suffered through that. But I did all right. But no, I mean, hopefully there'll be something new for me in the future, and I get up the nerve to do it. You know, that's the main problem with me is getting the courage to do it.
Oh, that's I'm sure you're going to find yourself flying very, very soon. We're so excited to hear this news, and you know, I mean, you're being modest, and you're saying that, you know, you're trying to stay low, but there's a lot of change going on in the dental industry, and I think there is certainly always a need for those people to have high levels of passion. And in this industry, it's such a wonderful industry to find people as yourself that are willing to inspire others. And we are so excited to have had you on the show. So the only way that we can follow your toothiness is on Instagram, correct? Are you on TikTok already or not yet?
No. I barely know how to use my phone. So you guys are lucky I'm on Instagram. Put it that way.
Yes, we are. We will be flying out to Chicago. We will be there Thursday morning and be there all the way through Monday night. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see you all, the large family. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be hearing this podcast after the fact, but if you haven't made it out to Chicago, you have to make it out to Chicago. And I'm sure you'll be able to see MacKenzie, the one and only Tooth Fairy, for 2021, and that plan of staying low, I don't really think that's going to work out for her. But you know, you can ask her in person, ladies and gentlemen. So one more thing. If you had one word of inspiration to tell somebody, to share with somebody today, what would you say?
If I had a word of inspiration to say to someone, I would say just take the risk, you know, because I wasn't sure about half the things I've done. But every time I was debating doing something, I said, you know, you don't want to regret this later, so just do it. And every time I've done it, it worked out well for me. So just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Ladies and gentlemen.
For the sake of sounding like a Nike ad, just do it.
Just do it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a privilege having the one and only MacKenzie Tooth Fairy. Ladies and gentlemen, follow her if you're not already. I doubt anybody that's listening to this has not followed you yet. But if you are new, if you're listening from another country and you have not followed her yet, follow her, leave comments, subscribe to whatever it is that she has. We are looking forward to meeting you in person, MacKenzie. I hope you have a phenomenal drive. Obviously, you're not going to be flying. You're going to have a wonderful drive. And ladies and gentlemen, till next time.